All right, so the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft is almost over, and I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on the two selections that the Minnesota Vikings made in the first round. With their first pick, trading up from pick 11 to pick 10, swapping some late round picks with the New York Jets, they end up taking quarterback JJ McCarthy from Michigan. For a while now, I wanted the Vikings to be aggressive and go up and get Drake May. It had been reported that Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, had wanted Drake May for a while, and that was probably the quarterback that he was linked to the most, especially with the Vikings quarterbacks coach Josh McCown having coached Drake May in high school. Everybody kind of thought that Drake May was going to be Kevin O'Connell's guy. But right before the draft started, Tom Pelissero came out and said the Patriots were most likely just going to stick at pick 3 and take Drake May, which ended up happening. So my immediate thoughts were, okay, the Vikings are now going to have to pivot to whoever their next guy in line is because they're going to take a quarterback in this first round. And so now they're sitting at pick 11, and the Cardinals take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4. And I'm thinking, all right, if the Vikings believe that the Giants, who are pick number 6, are going to take JJ McCarthy, they're going to have to jump ahead of them and trade with the Chargers, probably give up multiple first-round picks to get up there, and take JJ before the Giants get the chance to. Throughout the past few weeks, the Giants have been doing a lot of work on JJ. They brought him in for multiple visits, all that kind of stuff. The Vikings end up calling the Giants bluff, saying, hey, we don't really believe that you're that interested in JJ McCarthy, so we're not going to trade up with the Chargers. Chargers make their pick, and the Giants are up on the clock at 6. I'm thinking, all right, they might just take JJ here, and then who knows what the Vikings are going to do if that's really their guy. And the Vikings are right, and the Giants did not pick JJ. They end up pivoting and taking Malik Neighbors from LSU. So now there's not really a team between the Titans, who are up at 7, and the Vikings at 11, who are going to take a quarterback. Let me hold on to that. All right, that's what I thought. So the Titans end up taking J.C. Latham, offensive lineman from Alabama, and the Falcons are up on the clock. And this is where I'm thinking, all right, the Broncos and the Raiders are behind the Vikings. You don't want them to jump you. So maybe just to be safe, you trade up with the Falcons, who probably aren't going to take a quarterback, right? And the Falcons stay there, and I'm like, all right, I guess they're probably just going to take the first defensive player off the board because up to this point, a defensive player hadn't been taken yet. And the Falcons end up taking a quarterback, but not J.J. McCarthy. They go for Michael Penix Jr., which I'm going to do a video tomorrow kind of giving my thoughts on the first round as a whole. But just to go over that real quick, very confusing to me. Don't understand it. You just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal, and you draft a 24-year-old quarterback in the first round. That just does not make sense to me. But hey, I wanted JJ over Penix for the Vikings, so, I mean, it's still all good. So then the Bears stick at pick 9, take Rome Odunze, and the Vikings, like I mentioned earlier, give up a little bit of late round draft picks, swapping with the Jets, and just go up one spot just to kind of box out the Broncos and the Raiders. And there they take JJ McCarthy from Michigan. I honestly couldn't be happier about this pick. If they were going to give up a haul and a ton of first round picks for anybody, I wanted it to be Drake May. But as soon as it wasn't, and I kind of saw the board falling, I was like, oh, they're just going to get to stick at pick 11 and take JJ there and keep their first round pick next year and the other first round pick they have in this draft. I mean, I couldn't be more excited. JJ's got a lot of upside. He's going to get to sit behind Sam Darnold for a year, learn from Kevin O'Connell, and hopefully by year 2, take the reins. He has the weapons. He has Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones for this year. Good tackles. I mean, I'm really excited about this pick. And the way that they got to keep their other first-round pick and just let JJ fall to them, I mean, I think it's a really good pick for the Vikings. So after taking quarterback JJ McCarthy at pick 10, after trading up a little bit from pick 11, the Vikings now still have their second first-round pick in this draft at pick 23, and 14 straight offensive players went in this draft, which is a record. That's never happened before. So that's pushing all of the defensive players, I mean the top defensive players, back and back in the draft. So now we're sitting there with our second first-round pick, and I'm thinking, man, we're going to get the 5th, maybe 6th, 7th best defensive player off the board, or according to whatever the Vikings have ranked. I mean, it could be one of the top 3 guys, who knows. But so we're sitting there at pick 23, some picks are coming off the board, and the Jaguars, I see a notification pop up that they're trading the pick, and it's the Vikings. So the Vikings trade up 6 spots from pick 23 to 17. I'll talk about this a little bit more in my grading the first round video tomorrow. Again, I'm going to talk about the player in a second. I think they gave up maybe a little too much. I think it's worth it in the end because you're getting a really, really good player. So they already didn't have their second round pick next year because they traded it to get their second first round pick in this year's draft. I know, a little confusing. And now to get up to 17, they traded their 3rd and 4th round pick next year, plus another late round pick this year to get up. So now they only have 3 picks in total in next year's draft as of right now, which, who knows, a lot of things could change. I don't know exactly how I feel about that, but I'll kind of get into that more tomorrow. Let's just talk about the player real quick. So the Vikings traded from 23 to 17, and they take a guy who I thought the Falcons were going to take at pick number 8, and they ended up going with Michael Penix Jr., a major shock. I thought they were going to pick Dallas Turner. He's easily a top 3 edge in this class. He's ranked differently. Different people have him. Some people have him 3, some people have him 2, and a lot of people do have him as the best edge in the draft. A lot of people thought that he was going to be the first defensive player off the board in this draft. I did too. Again, thought the Falcons were going to take him at 8. So the Vikings obviously identified him as their guy. Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator, probably told Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the GM, said, hey, this guy's still there. You already got the quarterback for Kevin O'Connell. Now go get my guy. And I bet that's what Dallas Turner was. So they may have traded a little bit more than I would have liked, but one of the top defensive players in this class nonetheless. So you end up walking out of the first round. Whereas earlier, a couple weeks ago, if you would have asked me what I thought the Vikings were going to do in the first round, I thought that they're for sure trading up in the draft to get a quarterback, meaning that they're only going to have 1 pick in the first round. And they end up getting to stick there at 11 right until they have to trade up a little bit to get JJ, a guy that I thought they were going to trade up to 5 for. And they keep their 23rd overall pick, and they trade up 6 spots to get one of the best defensive players in the draft. I mean, again, I'll get into the draft compensation tomorrow, but they obviously end up getting the 2 guys that they wanted. Kevin O'Connell, I bet he couldn't be more happy that he gets JJ McCarthy, gets to work with him, a super young guy, a lot of high upside, shown a lot of flashes at Michigan, just won the national championship. He is a winner. And then Brian Flores gets his guy on the defensive side of the ball, Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Alabama, super athletic dude, running the 4.4s at the 40 at the combine. So 2 really, really solid picks for the Vikings overall. So the Vikings, hopefully, getting their quarterback of the future with their first pick, not having to give up a ton to get up just 1 spot with the Jets. And then they also get one of the best defensive players in the draft. I know I'm a Vikings fan, but I think this is one of the best drafts of the night, easily. Not a lot of teams had 2 first-round picks to begin with. I for sure thought that the Vikings were going to give up both of them, and they ended up getting to take 2 players in the first round. Just 2 super, super solid picks all around, and I'm super excited to see what these players are going to do in the future with the Vikings. So I'm going to put this up and then watch the end of the first round because there's only a few picks left. Chiefs just took Xavier Worthy. Of course, they took the fastest guy to give to Patrick Mahomes. But anyway, tomorrow I'm going to kind of recap the first round. I might do grades. I might not. I might just talk about each pick really quickly. I'll kind of get to, again, the draft compensation problem I had a little bit with the Vikings trades, especially talk about the Falcons taking Penix, which I'm sure shocked everybody. I'll be back here again tomorrow with my reaction to the entire first round. Just want to say I really appreciate you watching. And yeah, that's my reaction to the 2 picks that the Vikings made in the first round. Super excited overall, and see ya.
Character things. Listen, thank you that I got here.